Welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast, episode 58. My name is Tony B. Driving alongside me is David B. and Timmy D. Today's topics, we'll get into some industry news with me, fuel prices, and David B's got some great headline topics too. Remember, we're just three Americans discussing topics that affect the transportation industry. Our views, the views of us three, are purely news-driven and do not express the views of any transportation provider or any business entity that uses any transportation provider. Timmy D, we do it for what?
Transportainment.
Boom. That's right. We do it for the transportainment. Thanks for joining the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. You can find us on basically all the platforms, YouTube, Rumble, iTunes, Twitter, and our home website, www.shipsgonnahappen.com. You can essentially just Google our name and you'll find us, and you'll find a platform to listen to us on. And all of our shows are loaded up on SoundCloud.com. David B. last week said, hey, let's go check out a bar. And I was like, man, I've never heard of this place. And my goodness, was I pleasantly surprised, David B. Good morning.
Good morning to the both of you. And what a St. Patty's Day that we all had, at least that I can kind of remember that we had. A good place to go, the Golden Ace on East Washington Street in Indianapolis. Just a good St. Patty's Day. And it turned out to be somewhat of a freight day. Quite a few people in freight were there. Just a good to go see people and shake hands and kind of catch up with some other people. It was a great time. And Tim, I don't know about you, buddy, but I just had a really, really good time. And thank you for being a great host on that day too.
Yeah.
It's the oldest Irish pub in Indianapolis.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest.
And next year's St. Patty's Day is on a Friday. So if you already haven't put in your March 17th off for next year yet, you might want to start to get it planned. But today's show is brought to you by The Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. Great place to go to kind of unwind after a Ship's Gonna Happen week. I was there last night. I get there at 3:30, and this was that kind of day yesterday. I get there at 3:30. Beers are going down good, and I Uber down and I Uber home, and so we get in there and we just start talking, and next thing I know, I look at my watch and it's 9 p.m. just like that. I mean, just that fast. I'm like, gosh darn it, where's the evening went? But good place to go to kind of get a good meal, hear some music on a Friday night, catch it up with the locals. The Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. Timmy D, how are you today, buddy?
I feel old / young right now. I'm looking at your laptop here, and the thing still has a CD-ROM in it. All right, boom, the old CD-ROM,
Mag tape.
Yeah,
As a 5 1/4 floppy.
Yeah.
The disc, you mean? Or
It's monochrome.
Oh yeah, right.
I didn't even know.
You don't even know it has it there. So that's a classic right there.
Somebody turned the VCR.
Is that Hunter
VCR on?
It's hilarious.
I think that's Hunter Biden's laptop.
It's Hunter Biden's laptop. Oh my God. Oh, there's some dirty pictures Dave just pulled out.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Oh, my God.
it is a gloomy little Saturday morning, though, ain't it?
It is.
Yeah,
We're supposed to
it
get
is.
an inch of rain. I don't think it's
Are we?
quite that, but it stormed pretty hard last night about 9 o'clock. So, hey, March Madness. That's people missing me
Man,
talking
yeah.
about March Madness. Not as many upsets this year so far. We'll see what this rest of this weekend brings, but we got that in town. Sorry about you Kentucky fans, but it's not a short drive back to Lexington. So, but some good games on the lineup today. Plan on using my baby mama to shuttle me around from bar to bar.
Nice.
Drink a few cold cocktails. We got to take the boy in and out of a couple sports venues. So I'll be hitting the bar in between all that. So
Hey, it
what's
works.
going on?
Man, it sounds good. And you're talking about that March Madness. Did you guys see where they picked up the IU cheerleader?
Oh, get the
And
ball out.
I was thinking, man, they probably should have got her to play.
Yeah.
They could have used her.
They got their ass whooped. Yeah.
I lost a bunch
Embarrassing.
of money on that. Bunch
Man.
of money on that. Not that I'm in here saying you need to bet, but I do like to gamble from time to time. I lost a bunch of money on that.
Yeah, I thought they'd win that game.
Right.
But
I thought they had a little momentum going, and they typical Hoosiers.
Well, Iowa, of all the teams, they definitely had the momentum going, and they bit it hard in the first round too.
Yeah.
So,
They got
Who did?
Iowa,
Oh, that's right. They
they
got
got
beat.
up by is it Vermont.
something like that.
Something like that.
Well, no, it was a 12. Was it Davidson?
I don't
was
know.
a
No,
12 seed, 'cause they were a
Davidson
5
played
seed.
Duke, right?
No. Davidson moved on.
Davidson moved on. Yeah, that's right. They're a pretty good team, man.
Yeah, I tell you what, I wish Butler would go after that coach. He's been at Davidson probably for 15 years, maybe.
Where
20.
are they at, Tim? Do you know where that college is?
Davidson in Ohio,
is it
north
Ohio?
of Columbus.
Oh wow,
yeah, towards the Akron area. So, but that coach, I wish Butler would go after. Sorry, Mr. Jordan, I'm not a big fan of.
Is Butler going to be looking for a coach, or
he's probably got another year? But
I'm saying they should be.
They should be.
Yeah.
They should look for a new coach 2 years ago. But,
okay.
All right. Wow.
Anyways, transportainment, we talk about it all on there, don't we?
Yeah, we do. It's all good.
We'll get into. Go ahead, David.
So Tim, just to help me out here with Thursday, did you end up going anywhere else after the Golden Ace?
Yeah, we'll just leave it there.
Yeah,
you don't remember going with me, do you?
Right? No, I was with you, but I know I didn't make it past there. So I wondered if you just had.
You made it to a lot of places. You don't even know it.
Right. Oh yeah, you made it. Yeah,
I've never seen. So David B and I's had a few adult beverages together quite often. I've never seen you hit a wall, like, I mean, hard.
Right. So I didn't, once I started, I didn't stop.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I just one after another, pound. And not that I need to eat, but I didn't, or whatever. I just didn't prep myself.
You were sweating, and I was like, man, this poor guy.
Yeah, because he had plans, and then all of a sudden, those plans changed.
Went into work. I went in. Never mind. But anyway,
I took yesterday off. I went ahead and said, "The heck with that." It was nice. It was just me at the house. Kind of lay around watching basketball. Went and did some errands.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm a big basketball guy, and I thought I'd watch a lot of games yesterday, especially early, were blowouts.
Purdue game.
Purdue did what they were supposed to do. So Notre Dame last night, looking good.
Yeah, man. So they won their first game, and then they won their first round game, right?
Yeah,
pretty impressive, actually. I didn't think they'd win that game.
Right.
Well, they got the hot hand.
I got them picked, but one of mine. Final Four is already gone. Kentucky. I mean, they got whacked.
I know. They had some momentum going into the tournament, and I thought for sure that they would carry that on because they've got a little bit older. They're typically just a freshman or sophomore classes in there. They've got some senior dudes in there. So, but hey, that's why it's March Madness. That's why we all watch.
Exactly.
These 4 days are my favorite 4 days of the entire year.
There we go.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know what it is about it, but the excitement. And I think what happens is you get such a high from it. And then you crash.
Right.
Because you don't have it for 6 months.
Yeah.
My Cinderella team was Colorado State. So obviously that screwed me. So I took them to the final.
That's not a bad one to have, though.
Yeah. You took them to the Final Four?
8.
Elite 8.
Nice.
Wow.
All right. Hey, and baseball made it past their contract talks.
Yeah.
Could you believe it was holding them up?
Yeah, I know.
The foreign draft players.
How many of them are there?
But come on, let's worry about our Americans.
Yeah,
I know.
I know.
And I know a lot of the foreign players make up a good chunk of good players in the league, but that's what's holding us up from millions of dollars.
Stupid.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it affected Cincinnati usually, whether I'm not a big Reds fan, but usually they open up the season. They're one of the first teams to play, right? And they got kicked back now, so it screwed them up.
They used to be the team that played first.
Yeah.
On opening day.
They'd always play the Cubs. And when I was a kid, we'd go to the Cubs when they play the Cubs at Chicago, Wrigley Field. We'd always go to that game. It was usually like April 17th or 18th.
Freezing ass cold.
Oh, yeah.
Cold. I bet.
Yep. Wow. But... all right, you guys get ready
let's
to roll?
get into some logistic stuff now, you know? Is that what we're here for?
I think so.
All right, let's do it.
To recover from hangovers and talk about logistics.
Hey, and I don't sound like I swallowed a bunch of razor blades this morning.
Right.
So
You sound
my voice is back.
sound like a
bitches.
recording star. All right, here we go. We'll get started with David B.
Me.
Yeah, some industry news.
All right, so the main thing that I want to talk about, to me, this is relevant to the three of us, and my topics today come off of transport topics. So the first thing that I'm looking at here is the state driving championships, and Indiana's is June 10th and 11th. So I think it would behoove us if we could do a remote from there, or at least show up there and shake hands and maybe pass out some stickers and get some drivers to get, maybe interviewed down the line. And then also the National Driving Championship is in Indianapolis, August 16th through the 20th. So
Wow.
if there's something that we can do, maybe to broadcast from there or something.
Have you guys ever been to any of those?
No, sir. Have you?
I've been to one a long time ago at Roadway.
I've been to probably 4 or 5 of them. I mean, they got little ducks out there and stuff, and I mean, they got all the different classes. You know, from heck, the Amazon Prime vans will probably be there this year, but they got the vans, they've got sprinters, they've got box trucks, they got doubles, triples, they've got vans, and these dudes, and it's not the driving test, it's even the hard part. It's the test. They got to take a 100-point test.
An aptitude kind of test?
Yeah, so they do that the night before. Then they go and you got to do a pre-check. We talk about that. You know how I am about the post-check, but the pre-check, and you're looking for cracked mirrors and just little nuances that's on there that you don't even know before you. Then they don't even tell you what you did there. Then you just jump in the cab and you go do your course.
Dang.
So, I mean, it's a big deal.
Where do they do it?
In Indianapolis, for the last few years, they've done it up in Park 100 area at the IT, what's it called? Institutional Technology School up there, 71st in Georgetown area. They're doing that parking lot. And the LTL companies get involved. Everyone kind of donates a trailer type deal, whether it's a van or this or that. And I know the company that I work for, we've donated a trailer or two to allow them to use. And
yeah, they're always big in that.
Yep. There's a big company, Batesville Casket.
Oh, yeah.
Ever heard of them?
I used to call on them.
Okay, so Batesville Casket, they have this, I don't know, it's got to be a $200,000 RV. So they bring their people out from Batesville, Indiana on this RV and set up shop. And they used to hire a chef. They don't do it anymore. They got an awning, big old table of food, buffet full, TVs in this RV. It is just off the charts. Off the charts.
Can we do this?
Oh, we could do that.
Do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Seriously,
Yeah.
Especially the national championship.
I don't know if we'd roll up in a $200,000 RV.
Right. Might not be able to
It might be
sponsor
a
that,
Pinto with a charcoal grill or something.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
There we go.
A little one of those little green propane burner things. Like, we got.
That's good stuff.
We got
man.
a small packet of hot dogs.
So, and those
beef hot
drivers to take time out of their day and to do that and to compete, and for all the drivers out there that's listening, that's listening to Ship's Gonna Happen show, I just think it's awesome that you guys get to compete in kind of like an all-star event for truck drivers.
Yeah.
Right. We think about it as a job, and now you're taking that skill set and showing really how good you are, and it's amazing to watch. It's kind of slow. But if you respect the drivers and realize what they go through on a daily basis, for them to be able to do that, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well,
It's
hopefully
good
we can make that happen. So.
Nice.
All right, and then just a couple other headlines this week. Not really much to touch on. Carriers have suspended operations in Russia and Ukraine, obviously because of the war stuff that's going on. Roadrunners they kind of rebranded themselves earlier this week, kind of a new logo, and they're offering pay raises through their transformation that they're doing.
Not transportainment?
No.
Transformation.
Yeah, the Roadrunner transformation. I wonder how that's going to work.
Yeah. Good for them.
Yeah, definitely so. You don't want to see anybody do anything poorly or not survive. But
we need industry needs trucking companies, right?
FedEx reports record third quarter revenue on holiday surge.
Bam.
So I guess you could have saw that coming.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so that's pretty much about it.
One other topic, if you want to bring it all there, you got the Midwest America Truck Shows coming.
Oh, yeah, right.
Next weekend.
I should bring that up too.
I'm hoping to get down there. I really want to get down there because there's two people, Jacinda and Jorge, are both going to be there.
Yeah, Jorge.
And I would love to take
Jacinda.
10 minutes out of my day to talk to both of them and just thank them one for everything.
They want to take time out of their day to talk to you.
Well, I think so.
Jorge had a little medical scare recently, so I'm glad that he's okay.
Yeah. And, both of them have done well and given us a little push and stuff. So
great people.
I would love to go down and shake their hands and say hello. And I think also it'd be a good opportunity for us to get our name out there and maybe pass out some stickers and get a little bit more following. So I'm definitely going to make an effort to get down there.
That sounds good.
So
right,
that's all I got.
That's all you got?
That's good. And no interview today, so it's good to get some topics up there. It's kind of recent. We haven't probably touched on here recently, last month and a half or so.
Right.
Yeah. So David brought up, and Tim's talked. We've all talked about it, but the fuel prices. Right. We'll get into topic number 2 here. All right, Tony B here. Thank you, David B. All right, so I got a couple things here. Well, one disturbing thing is that in Indiana, there was a driver found dead, unfortunately. And God bless his soul, and hopefully they discover what happened in all this. But apparently he was part of a sleeper team.
Okay.
And the crew cleaning the streets up north in White County found his body. A man from Florida has been charged in connection with the death of what is believed to be his co-worker, which is his co-driver, who was found dead in a ditch along Interstate 65 in White County, according to Indiana State Police. And this article is from Andrew Smith from WRTV. Miguel Barron, 44, of Miami, Florida, was arrested on a warrant and charged on Tuesday in Arlington, Texas. He was in his truck by Texas police sergeant. The arrest comes after a multi-state homicide investigation into Artis Garcia, 63, of Los Angeles, California, who was found dead by a cleaning crew March 8th along the ditch on I-65 northbound less than a mile south of State Road 18. His cause of death has not been released. Not a lot of details yet, but our condolences go out to his family and stuff. And it's kind of important to kind of know who you're driving with, I think.
Maybe. What would 63 and 64?
Yeah.
Seems like pretty late in life to be arguing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just saying.
Yeah.
You talking about who's going to get whose Medicare, or what you talking about?
Was he snoring too loud?
Right, exactly.
What is you got to put up with a lot of stuff driving with people like that. I mean, and it goes back to what we've talked about before. I mean, it's a high risk job apparently, right?
Yeah, so clearly.
Man, that's sad.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Sorry, guys. I just got hit with this news. So this is kind of live right now. And it does scare you to think about how much time Jeremy was a sleeper driver at one point, and how much time did he spend with the same driver day in, day out?
Right.
And how does that frustrate you?
Right.
And then imagine that cab's only so big.
Right.
Even you hear about domestic violence is huge, right? That's like the largest crime there is, and that's living in a house.
Yep.
Yes.
Imagine traveling somewhere with somebody, trusting with your life while you're sleeping in the cab.
Yep.
So what brought it to that point?
Yeah, it's nuts. Because I mean, if you're married, you're spending more time in the cab with the person you're in the cab with than you are at home with your wife or husband if you're a female driver. So yeah.
Or we had the couple that was on here that's a team driver.
Matt and Liz.
Yeah, Matt and Liz, they're married and obviously in love. Who knows about this 63 and 64-year-old person? That's just anything can happen out on that road. And if you get that angry, my goodness, you can't go nowhere, right? That's your ride.
Just drop them off at the rest area, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Right.
Too bad it didn't work out. It's not, it couldn't be worse.
Then you said you found him in Texas.
Yeah.
What do you do? Log that dude's miles too? I was driving. I mean, seriously, think about that. Like,
I don't know.
I'm a clocking as this dude now.
It's a weird story. It is a weird story.
Oh, it's too bad.
But on to something else. Let's get
Can
into
we get some positive.
I'm sorry, I brought you guys down. All right.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, I won't hit that button. All right. So here's something. There's tons of people trying to save ways on ways to trying to save gas, right? Yes, diesel prices, right? It's gone crazy. Like it's going to put a lot of small businesses, like Matt and Liz or Jorge, right? People that are doing this independently for themselves, or Wild Beard. Man, that's it would really crumble them. I think their profits are getting eaten away with this gas price. If they can't offset it if they're bidding on loads, those loads aren't necessarily getting higher for them, right?
No, because you got the big companies we talked about how they're buying. They got a fuel contract for the year.
Yeah,
so their fuel's a locked rate for the most part, right?
Right.
But the independents out there are paying out of pocket. They have no control over because they don't purchase enough fuel to have much control of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here, I got a story here that was interesting. I'm going to play this for us. I got it turned up here. For those of you listening on the podcast and can't see this visually, it's essentially an article about some people that got creative on a way to get their costs down with fuel. And here we go.
Tom, it is an unusual case where the alleged thieves drove straight over the container lids here and stole hundreds of gallons of diesel fuel multiple times.
They hit us the days where we were paying like a real premium. Like altogether, it's like about $5,000.
This surveillance video shows a van driving over the underground fuel storage container lids at the family-owned Fuquay Express gas station off of Beltway 8 in Southwest Houston. The gas station manager, Jerry, claims the people in the minivan stole an average of 360 gallons of diesel fuel from the underground storage containers 3 days in a row, starting on Tuesday of this week. The minivan returned on Friday for the fourth attempt, but the manager was in the office and chased away the alleged thieves. Jerry also believes someone acted as a lookout in a nearby SUV. He says he reported the theft to Houston police and added new locks to the storage lids.
The lookout and the van that's pumping the fuel out, they come at the same time. The van drives on top of the fuel tank. That's all you see. No one comes out. They have a trap door inside their vehicle, which is crazy.
Yeah. It doesn't look like that van could hold that much.
Now, Tom, this is a local family-owned gas station here, and just like you heard Jerry say, they lost about $5,000 worth of diesel fuel. Now, also, he says he wanted to share this story so that people can be aware and also be on the lookout for these suspects. Reporting live in Southwest Houston, Roxy Bustamante, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Wow.
So,
wow. Right?
So no arrests were made.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Wow.
So people just siphon gas straight from the source.
Straight from the source, yeah.
Wow.
At that point, you should just follow a fuel truck when the guy goes and uses the restroom, grab it right out of his truck.
A trap door. I mean, that's a lot of work, right? For that.
Yeah.
These people are creative. They could probably make good money doing something legal.
But how much money do they spend to modify some truck?
Yes, right.
You know,
probably $5,000. Right. God.
And then do you go and sell that, or are you using for your own fleet?
Well, yeah. What do you do? Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, are you going to go and just say, "Hey, meet me at the old pull off on the side of the road, and I'm going to fill you back up"?
Right. Yeah.
Sell it like moonshine.
Like they do the flowers on the side of the road. Propane or diesel fuel for sale.
Oh my God!
I mean, the only thing I can think of is you think about farmers, and they all got their own fuel basically at their ranches or whatever, right. And so you're taking that back there and putting it into one of those tanks.
Yeah,
but you're right. I mean, how much can one of those spreader vans hold? I don't know.
Amazing,
right?
I don't know what you put that in. I mean, 5,000 gallons, right? Is that what they said?
Well, $5,000 worth.
$5,000 worth.
So 100 gallons.
Yeah.
No,
100
or 1,000 gallons.
Be 1,000 gallons at 5,000,
right?
Yeah.
Or it depends on where Houston was. Yeah, probably.
How many trips they have to make for that?
Oh, I mean, yeah, you would
saying.
think, yeah. Because what do you mean? It looks like a 10-gallon container in the back. I mean,
yeah.
So
it looks like a soccer mom pan. Is what it looks like.
So I just saw an article on one of the news stations, and the criminals, they're not even worrying about siphoning gas anymore. They're just taking a screwdriver to your fuel tank.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Putting a hole in it and grabbing it into cans from there.
So how do you do that? Explain that.
They're just going underneath your car and using a drill and drilling a hole and letting it drip into gas cans. God. So what they've been targeting is cars parked on like a side street in San Francisco that's parked there and watching their routines or whatever. And then they'll come back that night, crawl underneath. No one knows you're underneath there, drill holes and fill up gas cans.
Damn.
So not only is the gas gone, but now you got to go replace that fuel tank.
That's expensive too.
Right? Yeah.
And your car's out of service.
Just $1,000-$1,500 to get that fixed.
Yeah. Just siphon this shit. Don't make it so I have to
right. It's like if you want to just take it the right way. Don't make me have to replace everything.
Don't cause me more.
There's so many scams out there like that. They just need to lower the price of gas, right? And get it back to normal.
Well, remember, was it back when the pandemic hit back in May of 2020-ish or so? It was like negative $20 for a barrel of oil or whatever it was. And I was like, I have a whole backyard available if you guys want to come store it.
Yeah, you're right. We should have all stored it.
Yeah,
right.
If you can pay me $20 a barrel, you can put it in my backyard all day long.
If we would have been smart, we would have been storing it back then.
Yeah.
Yep. Having containers in our backyard.
Yes.
Oh my God! They would have figured out a way to charge us tax on it, though. Like new tax for storage of gasoline for homeowners. Oh my God!
You need to claim that.
Yeah, that's really all I had for the industry news. Other than people are. My concern is with the smaller carriers, though. That's going to be, the Matt and Liz's and the Jorge's and the Wild Beards and the trucker's life, right? These people that are having to. The bigger survive, right? Like Tim was saying, the people that have the yearly contracts with the fuel, they'll be okay. But the people that are paying week to week for it, man.
So I looked up. So back in, call it 19-ish, it would cost you about $800 to $900 to fill up a semi truck, which typically a semi truck each has 2 tanks on it, 150 gallons of pop. Right, so you're paying $800 to $900 somewhere around in that neighborhood. Now it's costing you $1,800 to $2,000.
Dude, that's insane.
$1,800 to $2,000
because everything else is going to be more expensive too, right?
Well, if you look at the fuel rate too, truckloads up to like I think 90%, 92% of fuel right now.
LTL's like 40 something,
crazy,
right?
41.
So in that article though, that about one of the gas prices I was reading stated that what we just said is the fact that the cost of everything goes up, right?
Yeah, it's the number one leading cause, right?
Yep.
And then, I heard another thing today, which is surprising, fertilizer. Farmers and fertilizer.
Yeah,
fertilizer is more than double now. It's 58% more or something like that. It's almost doubled on fertilizer costs. Which, you got to have that for all your crops, right?
Yeah.
And 'tis the season. Spring starts tomorrow, I believe, 11:30 in the morning.
It does,
spring.
yes.
And, that's going to be the next. And what's that going to do? It's going to cost for that corn and that wheat. It's going to cost more money, and everything trickles. Gas is about the first thing you see that really drives a lot of rates, anything and everything you buy.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you looking to spend when you go on vacation? I mean, your fuel costs.
It's going to drive up our cost. Yeah. I mean, because we had a budget in there for thinking it would be this much, and essentially now it's going to be like double.
Wow.
So, I mean, because it's really gone up. I mean, when we already paid for this like a year ago.
Oh.
So, but not the gas, right? I wish we could have prepaid that. But couldn't do that.
Right.
And then we had in our mind how much cash we need. And then now it's like going to be, because it was like $2 a gallon back then. Now it's like fucking $4.
The lowest state, I just saw this last night actually. The lowest state is Kansas right now with the average of $3.68 for regular fuel. 37 states is over $4 a gallon. That's just regular. That's not diesel fuel. I'm talking regular car fuel. And they also talked about Ford's electric vehicles, I should say, EVs, sold out for the next 2 years, already pre-ordered. Already pre-ordered for 2 years out.
But it takes fuel. It takes diesel fuel that makes plastic to build the electric cars too, right? I've saw this whole thing before. It's a high cost to build an electric car.
Right.
It is. It just, you're right. The diesel is. So it would be interesting. I feel like because of the LTL rates where they went over the last year and a half, a lot of people have kind of looked at the truckload as an option. First off, you get, I shouldn't say better service, but probably quicker, right? From point A to point B, it goes direct. Yeah. So pay a little bit more, but it's not going to get clogged up in an LTL network like everyone is because capacity, because you've already paid for it all. And the other item is it's one price, done, never gets touched. Your W&Is don't get part of it, right? Never shouldn't get damaged. Assuming that truck drives just fine and you load it just right.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have looked at that as an option, as an outlet from LTL. I can see, or I foresee, if it's not already happening, volumes coming back to the LTL truck, which is just going to clog everyone's network again. When you're talking 10, 12, 15 skids in an LTL environment, it slows everybody else down because you got to have a plan to put that on a truck.
Right.
Just yesterday, I had a 5-skid shipment coming out of Minneapolis, and LTL was 25, but truckload was 3, and I'm like, that shit'll sit in Minneapolis forever if I ship it LTL. So might as well, like Tim just said, pick it up one day, deliver the next. That just goes from A to B. Don't have to mess with it. And the $500 difference is just, I'll do that.
And then what happens? You're going to pass that cost on to the end user.
Yep, sure do.
You're not eating that. There's no way.
Yeah. No. One of the guys in the corporation put an email out like, oh, we need to do what we can to reduce costs for the transportation. And I'm like, what's the fucking, we give it all of it passes down to the customer. That's who ends up paying for all of it. So, I mean, you can only cut costs so much, and it's just not feasible right now. I mean, just costs are so high.
Good topics. I mean, the fuel is probably the number one thing on everybody's mind in America.
Yes.
You don't even have to be in our industry.
No.
Yeah. I'm sure it weighs in now. I mean,
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah. I mean, everything. You guys,
So gas stations, I don't know if people realize this. Probably they do. Maybe I'm dumb talking about it, but gas stations don't make much money on gas.
no, they don't.
No.
2 to 3 cents a gallon.
Like if that.
Yeah.
Right. They make all their money on you you dragging your fat ass into that convenience store.
What'd you call me?
Getting that big gulp, getting that
Snickers
that
bar.
Skittles, a pack of smokes.
Skittles
right?
are awesome. I
Pack
love
of
Skittles.
And that's what they're making their
Some
money
chew.
on. And now people are probably going, I don't know if I'm going to go in there and make that trip to go get
It
that
affects
soda
everything,
pop,
man.
right? I'm
Yeah.
not going in there. I got that Snickers bar difference is the gas on 2 gallons. I'm not going in there to get that. So that's just going to hurt the convenience stores.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Price of everything going up.
Although a year ago you could go to a convenience store and you probably couldn't find your bottle of Coke that you want either because they didn't have it on the
right,
shelves.
right.
Right?
And they
Glass.
still are fairly bare for the most part. When I go in, I don't see that the shelves are fully stocked. It's been a while. So
Well, do you use water softener tablets, the salt tablets for
yes.
Yeah.
the one in New Pal here? That's where I go. You go there?
Yeah.
So they've been out of a certain
Yeah.
brand.
Yeah. The rust.
You know why?
They're not getting it.
Yeah, they're not getting, you can't get it from the trucks. Yeah.
Yep. Because I went in there and I said, because I know the owner. So my baby mama grew up with them and knows them like the back of their hand. So she's like, no, you can just use this. So, that's what we used to use. And I'm like, yeah, I still use that on top of the rust out, right? I use rust out on top of rust out because that's what needs to happen out here. And she goes, yeah. I was like, so is it a truck issue? Because, I know a guy that can help you with your shipping if that's what you're looking for.
Right.
And she's like, no, she goes, they just quit making it. They can't make the product anymore. It just costs too much. So no, they thought that the price point was too much. That's why they're done. They're done getting it.
That's crazy because it was a good product.
And where does 80% of our salt come from in America?
Utah. I'm going to say Utah.
Lake Erie.
Well,
Oh, it does. Lake Erie up north.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Son of a
where
bitch.
That's a shocker.
Puddin Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, right underneath Puddin Bay.
Really?
All Morton salt comes from underneath Puddin Bay.
Well,
Look it
damn.
up.
Well,
No, I believe you.
There's a random thought for you.
Hey, yeah.
You should have saved that.
Well, we were on the salt thing. I just figured,
Yeah.
it's an
No,
interesting.
no,
so
it's
I go on a
good.
fishing trip up there to Lake Erie every year,
Okay.
to Loran, Ohio. Never heard of it. It's kind of in between. It's about 45 minutes on the west side of Cleveland, and it's probably, an hour from Puddin Bay, basically. That's east of it. Yep, that's where all the salt's drilled for.
Damn. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't know that.
All right.
And my question is, in those mines, I'd like to go down in those mines, that salt mine. If you think about it, for probably 100 years we've drilled for salt down in there. First off, how in the hell do we know salt was on there to go drill? That's what blows my mind. But I would like to go down there and see how much salt we've taken out of that son of a bitch and how much more is left. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or you think
Yes.
the land would cave.
Right. With all that water on top.
Right.
I know.
I'm not going down there in a backhoe trying to move some salt out. Are you crazy?
Right.
One little leak and you're done.
Stay tuned for Tim's Salt Adventures. That's
Here
good
for the
stuff.
transportainment.
That's right. Boom.
Transportainment. All right. So we're going to get into some random thoughts.
Ship's going to happen.
Yeah. I could have done one more headline.
Oh, go ahead.
but
Do it. No, let's do it.
So, the headline's a little deceiving. So, it says autonomous vehicle maker Embark has posted wider losses in the fourth quarter, but then they made significant technology gains. So, I mean, I'm just wondering if that's why they posted losses, just because they were updating certain technologies. Reading the story at first, it makes you just wonder, like, is the autonomous vehicle, trucking industry not taking off the way some people thought it would? So, but I don't feel like reading it. It posted a $76.4 million loss.
Billion?
Million
Wow.
with an M. Embark.
million.
They're an autonomous truck maker.
Yeah.
So it just makes me wonder if the autonomous trucks aren't taking off.
Well, you guys ever
so
read
that kind of lost?
You guys ever see the movie called "Who Killed the Electric Car"?
No.
Is that like a documentary?
It's a documentary. Martin Sheen narrates it. So I didn't know all this, but the electric car was actually invented in the 20s, and it was invented for women that were rich in New York, Boston, who didn't want to drive because all vehicles back then were manual.
Okay.
So they made a battery
That's a stick shift for some of you young bucks.
There
out
we
there.
go. So they made a manual. They made a battery operated vehicle that lasted maybe like an hour or two, so they could go do their shopping. And then, so the battery's been around for a while, right? And then it was Henry Ford and J.P. Morgan and the guy from Firestone, or the guy from Standard Oil. Whoever that was, I can't remember his name.
You got me. I'm learning. I'm just sitting back and learning right now.
Well, so he was the kerosene, right? Because all houses were using kerosene back then, right? So they switched it to fuel. So him and Henry Ford that's why we have fuel. But the thing about the electric car was, who killed the electric car? The Saturn. Remember the Saturn vehicle? Yeah. That was GM's design originally for the electric car. It was going to be the electric car. So they made like 4,000 electric cars. Put them in California. Very, very rich people got them that could afford them. They signed a lease that they would have these vehicles and they'd have to give them back to GM. You ought to watch the documentary. It's interesting. So the brake pads didn't wear out as quick. All the things that you do in a vehicle, oil change, fuel filter changes, brake pads, they're basically discovered that switching it all to electric, all that stuff seemed to not wear out as quick.
Interesting.
So it would ultimately kill the gas oil industry, but then the dashboard's made out of plastic, right? The knobs are made out of plastic, all the knobs. So then the cost of all that, when they did the study, would just skyrocket. So it would actually cost more to build an electric car than it would be to have a gas operated car. So I think I don't know, Tesla's got their prices down right on their electric cars, but they're still kind of expensive. But I mean, there's a lot of cost into building those electric cars. So if you get a chance to see that documentary, it's actually, no matter what political side of the fence you stand on, it's actually a pretty good documentary. There's some CIA people in there that said that the reason, so what happened was they came and collected them all and didn't let these people have them. And then they destroyed every one of them.
They destroyed them? Just said
destroyed them. It was nuts. Yeah. So people, it's actually, this
was in the 20s, right?
Well, no, it was first, the electric car was first in the 20s, but this was done in the, I think it was done in the 90s, in the early 90s is when they did it. In the Saturn car, if you remember that.
Yeah. Okay.
Was the frame for their electric car and they made a bunch of them. And there's some famous, there's one girl that was on, what was the beach movie, the beach show did with Hasselhoff?
Oh, Baywatch.
Baywatch. Yeah.
Pam Anderson.
That wasn't her though, but one of the lifeguards, one of the lifeguards from there is on the documentary, who actually got one of the battery cars. Okay. And that's interesting though. It really kind of puts it in perspective. And so then there's a guy who follows they're collecting them all, and there's a couple that didn't want to give them back, and then they force the issue legally to give the car back, and so they give the car back. Who knows? It may be all just fake stuff. Who knows? But it was interesting to watch.
I want to know when I'm going to get my personal drone that picks me up and flies me to where I want to go.
You know what?
Yeah.
They're getting very, very close. I love drones, and they are getting very, very close. There's actually some out there now. They're just, the cost is way too high. But there's one that will actually GPS. Yeah, there's a guy that does. You ought to YouTube it. Actually does it out in California and flies from work back and forth in it. And pretty amazing.
What, the UAV?
Yeah, gets in it. Gets in it and takes off. Man.
I just want to hook up to some straps and it just fly me around.
Yeah. You know how you put your GPS in the Google Maps?
Yeah.
Or Waze?
Right, yeah.
Okay, that's what he does. And then it just takes off and flies him straight to the thing, and he lands.
How expensive could that be?
Well, man,
that's what I'm
I'm just thinking it's got to be cheaper than a car or whatever.
Well, I think the initial upfront to build it's probably not, but by the time they can get the manufacturing site set up, it would be. Yeah, I mean, this thing's pretty slick.
Could you?
I mean,
so I think about
it's amazing.
So I think about like if you're out on a lake, right? They've got everyone like hooks their boats up or whatever, and parties. Yeah. What if you do that with drones up in the air?
There are drone fishing. There's drone fishing.
What I'm saying is, you go up and you just hang out and drink some beers up in the sky together.
Oh yeah, sit over there. And, drone fishing. Oh yeah.
You got a table that another drone's holding on to. You can set your beer down.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. That would be awesome. I mean, you could just have the drone like Golden Aces. Pick me up.
Yeah.
Take me home.
There.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We need that Jetsons technology. You know.
Oh,
yeah, it's coming.
Here come the Jetsons. All right, we ready?
Sure.
Random
What
thought.
are we readying for?
I don't know. All right, so far I only have one random thought. What is the most annoying noise that like, is it your alarm going off, or is there just some piercing noise or some noise that just like, just kind of gets under
It's
your
just
skin?
damn random thought music. No, I'm
Right.
kidding.
Yes, it is random thought music. Yes.
I hate when we have little kids over the house and they scream.
High pitch.
Yes.
Yeah, I hate that.
It's like, hey, stop.
God.
Like, are you going to
Yes.
die? Like, what are we doing with our lives? Stop it right now. I go nuts on that.
Yeah, because I try to,
Absolutely.
at least
I go absolutely off the wall.
once a week. Like yesterday, like Tim mentioned earlier, it just kind of rained around here yesterday, and when I got home from work before I left, I just opened all the windows, and it was only me in the house. I just listened to it rain, and I'm like,
That's
this is
beautiful
nice.
sound.
Yeah, but then it got me to think, just kind of I don't know, just there's got to be, I hate listening to an alarm and just
Nails on a chalkboard. Oh,
Yeah,
that's not good,
yeah,
right?
Definitely, just
Glass
kinda,
clinging.
I would
That's
also
nasty.
say if you ever heard a live accident. So when not being part of it, right? If you're part of it, your adrenaline's a little bit different in you, but they're sitting there and you watch and you hear cars crunch. That is just terrifying to me.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good one.
You know what I mean? When you hear, it's
Or
like,
last call for alcohol.
no,
Sounds like
hey,
it.
That's
yeah.
not a
Yeah,
good
that's-
sound.
That's not a good sound, right? Yeah.
In two ways, is it not a good sound? If you're there to hear it, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, what time is it? Oh shit!
If you're there to hear it.
Right, yeah. Right. Wait a minute. Wait a
And
minute.
the lights come up from just a dim, right? From being dark to dim, you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, because
That's
I
funny.
think the thing I would fear the most with that would be like, oh, how much trouble am I in when I get home?
What
Son
time
of a
is it?
bitch.
It's really that time.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Oh, man, it's funny.
So that's about it for random thoughts for me. I can't think of much else.
So let's ask you this. Let's go back to March Madness because, again, that's my baby.
Please, yes.
Who do you guys have won it all? Who do you guys think?
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga. It's
That's
the
a
year
good
for
pick.
Gonzaga, huh?
Yeah. I just kind of filling it out. Like every year, I almost wish I filled out two brackets because you kind of guess at who's going to upset who, and then inevitably you're like, "Fuck, I should have picked that one" or whatever. And but I kind of wrote into the Final Four with most of the number ones. Wisconsin's the only not number one I took into the Final Four.
See, you know what? That's a good point because it'd be nice to have like your wild pick bracket and then your realistic bracket.
Or what you think is realistic.
Exactly, because I did kind of a wild ass one, and I got Wisconsin actually winning it.
Oh, okay.
But and I'm not a big fan of theirs. I think they play kind of savvy, and if they get on a run, they're going to be tough to beat. But then again, I thought Kentucky would get on a run too, and they were on. I thought they'd be savvy to beat, but I got Wisconsin winning it.
Oh, nice. What about you, Timmy D?
I did three brackets. Okay. All three are different.
Yep.
So I typically, kind of to you guys' points, there's one bracket I typically take a bunch of upsets. And then there's one bracket I go with pretty much the favorites, what I think was really going to happen. Then there's a hybrid, which is what I do. So Arizona's in one, Gonzaga's in the other.
Yeah.
And then my kind of sleeper bracket, I took Duke.
Yeah,
I just think
last year.
Yeah, last year for Coach K, he has a talent.
Yeah, he does.
They have been.
They could do
They're
it.
kind of like North Carolina this year. They're kind of up and down a little bit, and I would like to see him go out on a high note after he got his butt handed to him by North Carolina at home.
Yeah.
They didn't fare so well, or the ACC tournament they didn't win. So it would be nice to see him do it. But I'm with you. Gonzaga's looked good all year.
Which one of your three brackets so far is doing the best?
I haven't looked. I just pulled it up to figure out
okay.
what
Okay.
it is.
Good question.
I don't know. I'm in
I'm
fifth with
curious
Duke
to
right
hear.
now.
I'm curious to hear if your hybrid or whatever is doing the best, or but it's such a great time of year. No, March Madness is awesome, man. And we started it off Thursday with a bang.
Boom. Ann and I, and my wife and my bracket are tied.
Oh.
I thought I'd have her knocked out, but some of the sleepers I picked didn't pan. Because I thought, I like Purdue. I wouldn't mind seeing Purdue go to the championship, but my thing is, I didn't think they don't do well in the tournament, and I didn't see them beating Kentucky.
Yeah.
Right. But hell, now they don't have to face Kentucky, so this might be the year Purdue gets to the Sweet 16, Elite Eight.
Maybe
They ought to.
That would be nice. Way back in the day, at my old job, probably 25 years ago, one of the guys at work filled 2 out, and he goes, "One of these 2 is definitely the winners." I go, "What?" He goes, "Well, I just one day I picked one, and the other page I picked the other teams." I'm like, "No," no, it's not going to work that way, buddy.
Was that Aaron?
No, it was. I wish it was. I'd rail on him big time, but anyway, he called me the other day, and we need to get him back on. He'd be another. He's excited now that he's learning more in the industry.
Oh yeah,
and he wants to come back and express his knowledge. Not that any of us give 2 shits, but
we love us some double A.
Yes, it'd be good to have him back. So
no, that's good stuff, man.
Aaron.
So we'll do I'll put some random shows together for next week.
Oh yeah, we're on vacation next week, everybody. Or Tony's on vacation, so that makes us all on vacation. So yeah, we appreciate everybody listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen show, and all the followers we have now, and everybody that's given us a shout out and helped us push the show. It's more than appreciated.
Yeah, man, I'm getting all the platforms out there. We switched one of the platforms, iHeartRadio. You can pick us up on now. There's some people out there listening to it, so on those platforms, which is surprising, because I didn't really push it out to, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So other than get it on them.
Yeah, and hopefully, maybe next Saturday I'll make it down to Louisville. It would be nice to meet up with some people and get some new faces and get some, different people hopefully on the show eventually. Do we have any mail? We have Jeremy.
Jeremy's been hitting us up with some suggestions and comments.
Let's listen. Right.
Yeah, so he's been. Jeremy has been listening to some of the guests. He said that he listened to Jorge's one of his favorite, and he has listened to Jorge several times, and had some suggestions for us, which was all good stuff. I'm actually not logged in there. Here we go. So Jeremy, one of our favorite people out there, has been giving us some suggestions, and we're open to suggestions. So if you out there got any, you can drop them in on the YouTube channel. You can drop them in on the www.shipsgonnahappen.com as well, or SoundCloud, wherever you listen to us at. And we've had some new subscribers on YouTube. There was one recent one this morning, actually, that subscribed. So we're growing, we're getting bigger, we're getting better. So hopefully we can keep doing that thing, right?
Yeah, definitely. So.
It's good to hear he's still. We got to get him back in the studio. He's a good person.
Oh, he's a great guy.
Yeah, April 9th would be good if we can get him on.
Yeah, I'll reach out to him here on email.
Yeah.
I was logged in a different.
So Ship's Gonna Happen. We do. It sounds like David B sent out some of the Hall of Famer shirts already.
Yes,
so some of them Hall of Famers should definitely have those in the mail, if not already there. They should be shortly.
I sent them express, so they got them next day. So.
Did they? Mm-hmm. Nice. Mm-hmm. Good news is it didn't move in the LTL environment. It probably went with something else.
LTL and the carriers are.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I think you're going to say the same thing I did. The carriers are all posting really good numbers and still trying to come out of the winter backups that everybody's been experiencing.
And the ports are in much better shape, right? That's what it looks like.
So.
But I did read, to Tim's point, I did read a story that the China ports are backing up inbound, getting containers in because they're experiencing COVID surge again. So.
Yeah, and then
that's coming back. You knew it would.
Yeah,
but is it?
It's coming back. That's what happens.
Is it
something new? The news has been all about the Russia-Ukraine, which is just a tragedy in itself. And so, I mean, the news is just kind of taken, that's all they've done is talk about that. And so
Right.
COVID's back a little bit, and that's what it is.
Yep. They said there were 72 ships off the coast of China waiting to get in port to get loaded. So
72 waiting inbound for them, huh?
correct.
Interesting.
So
Well, that'd be hard for them to flip that if you don't have the equipment, right? Just like us, if that's part of that container thing. If you don't have the,
well, it's all COVID related. It's because they're shut down for COVID. So
man,
they lock it all down over there.
So I heard that 81% of Americans either have had it or have been vaccinated. So why would we shut down again? I don't understand.
I listened and driving over today, they made it sound like that wouldn't happen over here.
I hope it doesn't, because it's a tragedy for the school children to have to be locked down and not going to school, right?
And their parents.
Oh, yeah. I mean, gosh. Yeah.
Boom.
That's a good point.
Well
It might
said.
be harder on the parents.
Yes.
It's like, no, take him back. I'm so sorry. Here's an apple. I'm so sorry.
Open,
Right.
please open.
Yes.
I'll
Yep.
pay you to open. Oh,
He
my
doesn't
God.
need to be inside. He can sit right outside. Just give him a desk right
That's
outside.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what they should do. Put them in their own little single tents. See-through tents.
So, no, you
Right?
can't do that to
See-through
kids.
tents.
Let kids
Oh,
be
my God.
kids. My goodness.
All right, folks. We are good to go then.
Thanks for listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast.
Transportainment. Ship's going to happen.
Timmy D, David B, thank you.
Enjoy your vacation there, Mr. Tony.
Thank you. We will. And thank you all for listening.
Are you a
Ship's
night
Gonna
driver?
Happen.
Do you drive? Is the best time at night when you're heading down there? Or
Not
do you-
anymore, man.
Oh, okay.
No, I think the
Just
older
to
you
try
get,
to avoid the traffic.
yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
It with the glasses, the glare and stuff. It just sometimes I guess you
Just
get,
watch videos like some of the semi drivers I watch.
no.
Just put some
my
YouTube
goodness.
up and watch it
Yeah.
there.
Yep. Oh, there we go. Listen to the Ship's Gonna Happen show.
listen to all the shows.
Does Ann ever say, shut that stuff off?
That show sucks. What the? Who are these clowns? No, she likes it though. But thanks everybody. This is Ship's Gonna Happen. We are out.